Hi.
Howdy.
Big Babylon 5 fan. It's one of the reasons I take great joy in the misery and unfairness of the universe. This question is more for a friend who couldn't make it today, and we want to know what was your most favorite part of doing Jason in the Wheel Warriors?
I know why your friend isn't here today. He sleeps with the fishes.
Actually, court date, but...
Probation, huh? I told him to stay off the heroin. It doesn't do anyone any good. And that woman, he should keep his hands to himself, particularly when the heroin's involved.
Actually throwing chairs at his sister, but, you know...
What? What's your friend do?
He's kind of unemployed because he's trying to help...
No, I'll throw a shit with this for a job. What did he do for he's in court today?
No, he threw a couple chairs at his sister. So the cops, his mother called the cops, and he was very, and the cops were like, we have to take him. He's like, fine. He's a big dude. They needed 2 handcuffs to handcuff him, apparently. So
I should be nice to what I'm saying. Okay.
Yes. Dude, the guy has a snake eyes tattoo on his, like the symbol there. It's like he's
a gentleman and a scholar.
Oh yeah, very much so. No, I can't be mean to him because he's heading out.
Does he want money? I can give him some money right now.
No, but he owes me a favor because I did some deeds for him here, and I've already asked that my starship in our Star Wars game be faster than a unit of measurement. So
let me get this straight. You got a friend who is the size of the Bronx, right? Who threw chairs at his sister. Not the table, just the chair. It's not the whole set.
He would have done the table, but dinner was on it. Well,
he said
that's a smart man.
It's good to have standards. The point being, and of all the things he wanted to watch Jason and the fucking Wheel Warriors?
Yes.
Did the chair land on his head?
Maybe.
How hard did the cops hit him?
Not really that. I think they would have been more scared of him. They were Vermont cops.
I love New York. I fucking love New York. Oh, the best part of working at Jason and the Wheel Warriors was leaving it. It's a show about monster minds that drive cars between planets and have no reason for attacking things and talking plans that look like something out of a bad play.
And I'll just say, I have a more reasonable friend. I'd like to thank you for giving her like really uplifting her during a very tough time in her life, and you made her cry during the episode where Marcus died, and I thank you for that, and also for giving her that experience, and also once again. Babylon 5, I like it that you made us the bad guys. And that you don't see that often. I really thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And by the way, we talked to your friend about today. I'm not staying at the Plaza, I'm at the Four Seasons. Four Seasons, room 412, where Casada is staying. I'll hear about that one. My friend's their main job is to pick up the phone when the voice says, you know what he's done now. Yes, sir.
Hello, how are you, sir?
This is why I love talking to you guys. This can't be beat. You can't make this shit up.
I'm a big Babylon 5 fan.
Well, you're an average size Babylon 5. The guy four behind you is a big fan.
And I'm not ashamed to admit I cried like a baby when Captain Sheridan went out on the ship and passed away, so to speak. And I rarely ever cry from a TV show or a movie, but that really, really touched me deeply. And I just want to thank you for that.
So make everyone cry. What the hell's with this? I gotta become a comedian. People laugh from now on. This sucks.
On another note, I think the person who gave the best performance was Andreas Katsoulis, and I'm really sorry that he's no longer with us. A great story about that'll give us more of an insight of what kind of a person he was. You probably have a few good stories about him. I know he was a special person, but maybe just...
Yeah. We didn't know about the diagnosis, nor did he know about the problem, Andreas, until he went in for an x-ray and discovered that The cancer was behind his sternum, which why it hadn't shown up before, and it was already at stage 5. And I heard this through the grapevine. Walter Koenig called me and said, you know, Andreas is dying. And I what? So I called him on the phone, and he was laughing on the phone. He said, yeah, I'm dying. Is it in a hood? So I'm taking vitamins and this and that, and I'm healthier than I've ever been, now so I'm dying. And I was just stunned by his reaction. And he was laughing and carrying on. And he said, listen, you know, before I check out, I'd like to have dinner with you and Doug and Peter, and let's just, you know, talk about old times. And so a month or so goes by, and he's on chemo, he's losing his hair, but still the strength is there and the character is there. He said, come on over, let's have some dinner, which we all knew was going to be our farewell. And he's at his home, and he's still like on meds and for pain and everything else. Could not have been more glorious, more energetic. He said, you know, what was the stuff going on behind the scenes with everyone? You know, what really happened with so-and-so? Who am I going to tell? So we told him. Who's he going to tell? And he laughed and roared and carried on and was just amazing. And at the end of the dinner, he walks us to the door, he gives us a hug, and he looks at us. And I know that this is the last time I'm ever going to see him. You know? And then I heard a couple of weeks later that, you know, he had passed. He had checked out early, you know. And his families were there, you know, and there was laughter and carrying on, and his wife was there. And, you know, people like Harlan Ellison and Norman Corwin and others have shown me how to live. Andreas showed me how to die. You know, if you have any control over it, that's the way to do it. It's my opinion, anyway. And it's there are no words for some things. You know, and that's probably one of them.
Thank you. We should all live by his example.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say, Joe, you suck.
Thank you.
All right? I never really liked sci-fi. I saw Babylon 5 and I was like, you gotta watch the show, you gotta watch the show. And I was sucked into it. And I'm a Marvel fan. I got Spider-Man, X-Men, Wolverine. You two
We can cure that.
Well, now I'm about to be a DC fan, so I started buying Superman. It looks very weird. I got a room full of Marvel, so I got some Superman. Except what you did with Image, you know, I want to know, what was the first comic book you did?
The first comic, I was working on TV at the time, and the guy who was editor of DC said, "Why don't you Star Trek comic?" No, I'm wrong.
Twilight Zone?
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans?
Teen Titans Spotlight. And they always put Teen Titans in odd situations. It wouldn't be cool to put Cyborg in an issue with Two-Face, because they both have that division. And you show how one person went to the positive side, one person went to the dark side. And the person on the dark side thinks, you know, I never had a choice. I had to go this way because of my disfigurement. And he has to prove to himself that Cyborg is no different. That if he had the same problems that I had, he would do what I did because of this. And tries to prove that to himself. And at the end fails. So there's always a message behind what I do.
Yeah, I noticed that. I found Twilight Zone, right, in 1993 that you did.
Sorry?
You did a Twilight Zone comic book?
Yes.
In 1993?
Yeah.
I see why you try to forget that. That one didn't stop.
My gray hair is camouflage. I can still kick your ass.
I came with a guy who's a big friend.
I know a guy with a brother who threw a chair at his sister. You're going down, motherfucker. I got $100 to spare, and he needs bail money.
I'm just like, hey, glad to see you. Glad to see you a character in person too. You give character to everyone you write, and I like to see them all evolve and change just like real people do. Just glad to see you in person. The only seminar I'm going to sit through since I got ADHD and I can't hold still. But it's great.
Yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. Good.
Yeah, got the hat and everything.
I wonder what happened to that.
Writing takes it out of you. And as a writer, I'm always curious as to why writers write what they write. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. What do you write, by the way?
Yeah.
What do you write?
Anything, horror, crime, fiction, general stuff. But I'm always more interested about the themes behind it. So you have a lot of strong interest in fate and death and life, hope. What?
I'm Russian. It kind of goes with the territory.
Yeah. What about these things that you key into? What is it about these things that you sort of want to explore in your work?
For me, it's all it's worth writing about. And to why I write, Stephen King once said, if you write for the money, you're a monkey. If you write for the fame, you're a monkey. If you write because you love writing, you're still a monkey. You write because to not write is suicide. And that is kind of where I fall in the equation. I started writing at 17 years of age, non-stop, 10 pages a day, and I've done that ever since, pretty much every day of my life since. And I get nuts when I'm not writing. And I come from hard roots. I mean, I come from a hard scrabble life. And when you're living, as I did once, in a house that didn't have a roof, you're looking up at the stars from your bed, it makes you wonder, what's going on? What's the meaning of things? I lived in the projects, the worst imaginable kind of situations. And you have a lot of time on your hands. And you can either get in trouble, which I did on occasion, nothing they can ever prove, never threw a chair, or you start thinking about stuff. And I think that what a writer does is you put stuff up on the shelf that says, this is who I was, this is how the world looked to me when I was here. So when you're gone, we can pull it down and see what that was and put it back up on the shelf again. And you can either do that about trivial stuff, as I felt about the Dodgers, or about pocket lynch. Not that I'm comparing them, I'm just saying. Or you can start trying to write about things that get caught in your filter, things like fate and life and destiny and who are you and where are you going and what matters in life. Those get caught in my filter. That's just me, So I write about things that are interesting to me, and in the hope that others will find them interesting as well. Mark Twain said that if you are true as a writer and write from what's inside here, all of humanity, wherever you come from, share the same fears, hopes, anxieties. They want for a better life for themselves and for their kids. We all share the common coin of our humanity. And if you write truthfully, others will recognize that in themselves. I think that no matter how fantastical the situation, whether you're writing horror or crime or anything else, as long as there is truth in how the characters react to things, the audience will buy it. The moment they start acting falsely, no matter how real the environment, the audience won't buy it. Just stay true to your heart, the true north of your heart, and it'll always work out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.